In this flip-flop Navigator adventure, I explore the 4,000 islands in southern Laos. Phan Don, also known as the 4,000 Islands in southern Laos, is a unique area in the Mekong River where the river splits into multiple channels, creating a vast network of islands, rapids, and waterfalls, making it unnavigable and one of the most dramatic sections of the Mekong River. In this 7-kilometer stretch of the river, instead of flowing as one large channel, the Mekong River spreads out over a wide area, breaking into smaller streams with waterfalls, rapids, and hundreds of islands. This natural barriers help preserve the island's peaceful rural charm, making them a unique and laid-back destination in southern Laos. In the 19th century, French explorers wanted to use the Mekong as a trade route to China and were stopped by these waterfalls. To bypass them, they built a short 7-kilometer railway across Don and Khone Islands to transport goods. Don Island, the backpacker hub, has cheap bungalows, bars, tubing, and a chill party vibe. Khone Island is quieter with waterfalls, old French colonial bridges, and historical sites. This is the island where I did the ziplining. After a 2-hour taxi ride from Paxe, I took a long-tail boat from the Nakasong ferry port for about 15 minutes to the old French port on Don Island.
On the ferry boat to 4,000 Islands. I don't know what the cost is. 100,000 kip is what it was. You could change $20 or 600 baht or 22 euro, I believe it was. And then they gave me, I paid for the ferry and they gave me a bunch of kip back. I didn't count it. I don't know.
They prefer foreign currency but give you Lao kip in return. I haven't found anywhere in the world that wants Lao kip outside of Laos, so only get what you can use. From the old French port on Don Island, I walked a couple of minutes to Mr. To's bungalows and checked in.
Everything you need. A room with a view of the Mekong River, or actually on the Mekong River. It's my hammock.
Day 1 wasn't very eventful, or should I say it was very relaxing. I arrived, met my friends, we got some food, then enjoyed a beer lao in our hammocks by the river watching the sunset, then the stars, until we decided we should get adjusted to island time and called it an early night. Day 2, we took off on the bikes and crossed the old railroad bridge from Don Island where I was staying to Khone Island to see the Khone Phapheng waterfall.
Sawadee. Walking to school. There's the bridge. Obviously very strong structure. Not made for pedestrians, made for a train.
After seeing the bridge between Don and Khone was way more robust than your typical walking bridge, we did some research and found it was part of the French-built railway I told you about earlier, used to transport goods and boats around the unnavigable Khone Phapheng Falls.
Khone Island. Uh-oh, he came untied. Sawadee. One. I like how these things are supported. They support the trees, create shade.
The waterfalls and surrounding park were beautiful, but we saw the suspension bridges, then the zip lines running over the waterfalls, and we had to do it.
You're my emergency contact, so if I fall, they're gonna call you.
Okay?
Yeah. There's the waterfall.
The zipline tour crosses over the Lipi Sompamit waterfall 6 different times, offering you spectacular views of the waterfalls and some adrenaline too. Unfortunately, while ziplining, I would spin back and forth 2 or 3 times on every crossing. For some reason, I couldn't keep myself facing in any one direction on the ride.
Okay?
Yep.
1, 2, 3.
If ziplining isn't your thing, there's a walking tour where you walk across the river a few times on cable suspension bridges. This map shows the ziplines red, the walking paths green, and the walking suspension bridges yellow.
Yeah.
I found it amusing that when they cleaned up the litter, it was thrown in the river. Next stop, Cambodia, a few kilometers away. After ziplining, it was time for some lunch and discussing the agenda for the rest of the day.
See, that's the railroad. See, this is the original railroad.
变很美了。
Khop Jai Lai Lai.
那个羊肉嘛。
I don't know if I kind of was stuck on noodles because we said we're going to a noodle place, but
They had the noodle there. I think noodle at the back. Spicy salad.
Sorry,
This one no have?
we don't have 2 food check because
Emily's special noodle soup. Noodles and veggies and need some spice though. Emily's noodles for lunch were fantastic. I got her signature noodle gist. The soup was very good.
At lunch, we decided to take a slow 20-kilometer bike ride around the laid-back island of Don Khone to take in a waterfall and see where the 7-kilometer railroad meets the Mekong on the southern end.
can I eat? That's a school. There's a, that's not, I was gonna say that's not the island then. Probably. The new bridge and the old bridge. Thankfully, the new bridge isn't finished yet, so we can take the old bridge. the fish traps there. Somebody going fishing.
Here at the old French port, looking across the Mekong River at Cambodia. Right there is Cambodia, where the rivers all come together and make it navigable again.
The French port, looking over there at Cambodia. This is the southernmost place that the Mekong is navigable to. So the big boats come here, they bring containers up there with a cable, and then they take the train for 7 kilometers, I believe, to the north part of this area. The Mekong River spreads out here, so boats couldn't get through, so they needed a way to get around this. I believe it's 7 or 10 kilometers. 1893, 1896, end of the 1800s is when all this was happening. Look, it used to be wood. All the wood is broken away. The old wood beams are all deteriorated. You see where they have the cables, where they rolled probably containers up here, or boxes. And they have the engine room for rolling the cable up, I'm sure. They also have this big tank up there, which appears as though it's not a water tank, maybe for fuel for the train or for this winch system, or not sure. This is right by our hotel, about 5 or 6 kilometers away from here. Hanging out at the school. Sabadi. Riding the mamachari, the basket. Uh-oh. Sabadi. Riding the bicycle. Sabadi. Heineken. Where's your beer lao? ID. Up there a couple kilometers on the left is where I'm staying. Down there 5 kilometers is Cambodia. Don must be island, because this is Don Det. And this says Det Island.
We crossed the bridge back to Don Det Island, stopped at our hotel for a bit, then rode into the main port area of Don Det Island for a snack. At the ferry port, we checked out a map and found another road that goes up the center of Don Det and down the west coast back to the port again, so we took off to explore more of the island. This is the northern terminus of the railway on Don Det Island near our hotel in the village of Ban Hua Det.
Sawdust. Look at the boards, they're nice.
We were pleasantly surprised. The west coast had only a tiny dirt path, but there were cafes and bungalows everywhere. If you're looking to get away from the crowds but still want to be able to get to the main ferry port on foot in 10 or 15 minutes, this is where you want to be. We made it back to the port and enjoyed a few cold, frosty bottles of beer Lao while watching the school kids get picked up by their parents in longtail boats. We slowly made our way back to Mr. To's bungalow, turned in our bicycles, showered, and prepared for dinner and some live music.
Another Mekong River sunset.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, nice. It's still here since I wanted to take a look. But I mean,
Day 3, we woke up to dumping rain, so planned to chill in the hammocks all day. After a couple hours, the sun came out, so we joined some others for a bike trip around the islands, tasting the local food, and that is exactly what we did, until it turned into a pub crawl.
Easy, come on, 3 beer, 5 people sharing. No, you go no tequila.
Day 4, we grabbed breakfast, then I said goodbye and jumped on my long-tail boat back to Nha Sang ferry port, where I caught a taxi to Pak Se and a flight to Vientiane. Riding the longtail back to the mainland, I thought about how untouched this place still was and how I need to get back here for more exploring of the surrounding islands at a much slower pace. The best way to get there is to fly into Pak Se, Laos and take a taxi. Or the way I did it was fly into Ubon Ratchathani, Thailand, and then took a taxi across the border into Laos, through Pak Se, and into 4,000 Islands. If you have the time, Pak Se, Laos is a nice little city off the beaten tourist path with views of the Mekong River, spectacular waterfalls, and centuries-old historic sites. I'll be back to 4,000 Islands and back to Pak Se, Laos very soon.